Hello, all of you. The topic is pulmonary circulation. As we know, the lung has three types of circulation. The first is the pulmonary circulation, second, bronchial circulation, and lymphatic circulation. Now, come to the pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary trunk that arises from the right ventricle and it divides into right and left pulmonary arteries. These arteries carry deoxygenated blood to the right and left lung respectively. The blood circulates through a capillary plexus that is intimately related to the wall of the alveoli, and it receives the oxygen from the alveolar air. This blood, which is oxygenated, is returned to the heart, that is left atrium, through four pulmonary veins. Second is the bronchial circulation. Lung also receive oxygenated blood like other tissue in the body through bronchial arteries. Bronchial arteries, that is two left and one right artery. These are the branches of descending thoracic aorta. Bronchial blood flow is about 1 to 2% of the total cardiac output. Bronchial arteries, this supplies the connective tissue, septa, and large and small bronchi of the lung. And bronchial blood empty into pulmonary veins and bypass the right heart, so it is therefore constitute the physiological shunt, a channel that bypass the lung and oxygenation that occurring in the lung. So it is a physiological shunt as it directly empties into the pulmonary vein and bypass the right heart. Third is the lymphatic circulation. Lymphatic circulation, as lung is richly supplied by lymphatics. Lymphatics are present in the wall of the terminal bronchiole and all the supportive tissue of the lung. The particulate matter that enter the alveoli during inspiration is removed by the lymphatic channel. It also removes plasma protein that leak from the lung capillaries, and that it helps in the preventing pulmonary edema. The deep lymphatic vessels, it follows the bronchi and it drain into the pulmonary nodes, and thereafter it drain into bronchopulmonary nodes. Superficial lymphatic vessels, it lies near the surface of lung and converge onto bronchopulmonary nodes. From bronchopulmonary nodes, lymph drain into the tracheobronchial nodes and from there to the bronchomediastinal nodes. Now come to the characteristic features of pulmonary circulation. The pulmonary arteries and their branches are thin-walled and therefore distensible, and it gives the pulmonary artery tree a large compliance. This distensibility of the pulmonary vessel make the pulmonary circulation a low pressure, low resistance and high capacitance system. The pulmonary capillaries surround the alveoli and it is sandwiched between their walls. So each alveolus seems to be enclosed in a basket of capillaries. This is the organization of the capillary circulation. This is the bronchial artery. It is the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are there. These are the bronchial capillaries. It is the bronchial artery. This is the alveolar sac that is surrounded by capillaries. Pressure in the pulmonary system. Right ventricular pressure. That right ventricular pressure during each cardiac cycle, it reaches a peak of 25 mmHg during systole. If there is 120 mmHg in the left ventricle, and it falls to 0 to 1 mmHg during diastole if there is 5 mmHg pressure in the left ventricle. Pulmonary artery pressure versus aorta pressure. The systolic pressure is 25 in the pulmonary artery and 120 mmHg in the aorta. Diastolic pressure is 8 mmHg in the pulmonary artery and in aorta there is 80 mmHg. Mean arterial pressure is 15 mmHg in the pulmonary artery and in aorta 100 mmHg. Pulse pressure is 17 mmHg in pulmonary artery and in aorta it is 40 mmHg. Left atrial pressure. In major pulmonary vein it averages about 5 mmHg in recumbent position. Therefore, the pressure gradient in pulmonary system is pressure gradient between mean pulmonary artery pressure minus mean pulmonary vein pressure. It is equal to 15 minus 5 equal to 10 mmHg if there is 120 mmHg in the systemic circulation. This is the diagram that show the blood pressure in the pulmonary and systemic circulation. It is pulmonary circulation and it is 10 mmHg gradient or pressure gradient in the pulmonary system, and it is aorta 15 mmHg in the mean pulmonary artery pressure and 5 mmHg is the mean pulmonary vein pressure. In pulmonary capillary pressure, the mean value through indirect means are about 10 mmHg and the colloidal osmotic pressure is 25 mmHg. So there is net suction force of 15 mmHg is there. It tends to draw fluid from the alveolar interstitial space to the pulmonary capillaries and it keeps the alveoli dry. Pulmonary hydrostatic pressure if rises above 25 mmHg, fluid get escape into the interstitial space and it leads to pulmonary edema. This happens during exercise, particularly at high altitude, in left ventricular failure and in mitral stenosis and pulmonary fibrosis. This causes reduced rate of gas exchange in the lung and the resultant hypoxia can be fatal. Now pulmonary blood volume. Pulmonary vessel contain about 600 ml of blood at rest. Since pulmonary vessel act as capacitance vessel, the blood content may vary from 200 to 900 ml. Pulmonary blood volume decrease in physiological condition like standing and it shifted to systemic circulation to compensate for the blood pulled in the leg when due to gravity. In pathological condition like hemorrhage, also the transfer of blood from pulmonary vessel to systemic circulation occur that compensate for the blood loss, partially compensate for the blood loss, and thus the pulmonary vessel act as the reservoir of blood. Pulmonary blood flow regional distribution. Pulmonary blood flow is nearly equal to cardiac output because the right ventricle pushes the same amount of blood simultaneously into the pulmonary circulation as the left ventricle pushes in the systemic circulation. Blood flow through the lung depend on the relationship between these three, that is the pulmonary artery pressure, pulmonary vein pressure and alveolar pressure. Difference between pulmonary artery pressure and venous pressure is the driving pressure, and the pulmonary artery pressure must be above the alveolar pressure for blood flow to continue. Effect of gravity on regional pulmonary blood flow. In normal adult in supine position, the mean arterial pressure is same all over the lung. So all region of lung are uniformly perfused. In erect posture, the gravity affects the regional distribution of the blood through the lung by the altering the pulmonary vasculature pressure due to hydrostatic pressure effect. So in a standing posture, the mean pulmonary artery pressure in the lung will be, in middle of the lung there will be zero reference level, it is 15 mmHg. At the apex of the lung it will be less by 15 centimeter of water or 11 mmHg, that is about 4 mmHg. At the base of the lung it is more by the 11 mmHg, that is about 26 mmHg. Perfusion zone of the lung. Depending on the relationship between the alveolar pressure, pulmonary artery pressure and pulmonary venous pressure, the lung can be divided into three zones in the erect posture. First is the zone 1. It refers to area of the zero flow, that is any region of the lung that does not receive blood flow. Zone 1 normally does not exist in normal lungs. It is present under following abnormal condition. When pulmonary artery pressure is too low in hypovolemic shock, pulmonary embolism, and when alveolar pressure is too high, as in severe obstructive lung disorder. Zone 2, it refers to the region of the lung that has intermittent blood flow. It occurs during systole when the pulmonary artery pressure exceeds the alveolar pressure and which exceeds the pulmonary venous pressure, but not during diastole when the arterial pressure is less than the alveolar pressure. Zone 3 refers to the region of high continuous blood flow where the capillary pressure remains greater than the alveolar pressure during the entire cardiac cycle. So, zone 3 occur when the pulmonary artery pressure exceeds the pulmonary venous pressure which exceeds the alveolar pressure. It occurs near the bottom of the lung. Function of the pulmonary circulation. First major function is the respiratory gas exchange. This function will be discussed in detail in pulmonary diffusion. Other functions are reservoir for left ventricle and filter. It acts as filter to remove the emboli and other particles from the blood. It also helps in removal of fluid from the alveoli and it has a role in absorption of drugs and it also helps in synthesis of angiotensin converting enzyme. Regulation of pulmonary blood flow. Neural control. Efferent sympathetic vasoconstrictor nerve. It innervates the pulmonary blood vessel. These nerves have no resting discharge and tone. It means that they only show an increase in activity when stimulated. They participate in the vasomotor reflexes. Baroreceptor stimulation produces reflex dilatation of the pulmonary vessel and chemoreceptor stimulation causes pulmonary vasoconstriction. Afferent control through vagus is mediated through the pulmonary vasoreceptor, pulmonary volume receptors and J receptor. Efferent sympathetic vasoconstrictor nerve, through it the effect of vasodilatation and vasoconstriction is more on the capacity rather than the resistance of the pulmonary vessel. The vasoconstriction produced in the lung is due to sympathetic discharge is considerable and it results in the transfer of pulmonary blood in the systemic circulation, as for example during acute hemorrhage. Now come to the chemical control. First is the local hypoxia. Local hypoxia is responsible for the most significant alteration in the pulmonary blood flow for producing vasoconstriction. In lung, low partial pressure of oxygen in a region means that the alveoli in that region are not well ventilated. Therefore, blood flow through that region is wasted. Since it will not get adequately oxygenated, the local Low PO2 induced vasoconstriction in the lung is a phenomena that divert pulmonary blood flow from the alveoli that are poorly ventilated to better ventilated region so that blood can be properly oxygenated. Second is the hypercapnia and acidosis. It also produces vasoconstriction. The effect of partial pressure of carbon dioxide and acidosis on pulmonary vessels are just opposite to that in the systemic vessel. Means in systemic vessel these stimuli produce vasodilatation and here it produces vasoconstriction. The functional significance is same as that of the hypoxia. Third is the chronic hypoxia. It occurs in the high altitude dwellers and it is associated with the marked increase in pulmonary arterial pressure as in pulmonary hypertension that lead to the heavy afterload on the right ventricle and it result in right ventricular hypertrophy, right heart failure and pulmonary edema. Due to this reason, there is thick pulmonary precapillary vessel develop in the high altitude dwellers and children born and raised at high altitude show pulmonary hypertension. This is all about pulmonary circulation. Thank you.